Hi guys, welcome back to Hearn Family Homestead. I'm Amanda. Today is a cold and windy day, so I'm inside instead of out in the garden where I want to be. But it gives me an opportunity to replenish our soap supply, so I'm going to be making tallow soap today. I like to use tallow in my soap. It just makes it harder, it makes it last longer when you're using it. It doesn't all fall apart in the soap dish. And then I also use coconut oil. This is organic coconut oil that you can get from any big box store. And then also olive oil. And this combination makes a hard soap that's also very easy on the skin. It's got a good lather. I'll be using my electric pressure cooker to melt the oils today. I won't be having it on a pressurized setting. I'll just use it as a hot pot to melt the oil. I'll be using essential oils to scent our soap today. I'm going to be using rosemary, orange, and cedarwood. You want to make sure that you have good safety equipment. You've got gloves, either this type or kitchen gloves work well, and also glasses, because when you start mixing it with the lye, it can burn your skin or burn your eyes. I also keep some vinegar on hand with a rag just to douse anything that gets lye on it. If I get lye on my hands, I can douse my hand with that because it neutralizes the lye, and so that's a safety precaution. And I also use filtered water for my soap process. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh out my coconut oil. And I need 10 ounces of coconut oil. So that's going to go in the pressure pot. Now I'll measure out the tallow. And it's 10 ounces of coconut oil and 22 ounces of tallow by weight. So there's 22 ounces, and I'll add that to the pot. And I like to add my hard oils, or my tallow and my coconut oil, to the pot first and get them melted before I add my olive oil. It just seems to make it melt a little faster. And while those are melting, I'm going to go ahead and weigh my water and my lye. So I need 16 ounces of water. Let me re-zero my scale here. And I keep a pitcher on hand specifically for soap making. You don't have to, as long as you're sure to give everything a good scrub after you use it. So 16 ounces, that's 1 pound of water. And then you'll want to put this in the sink. So I'm going to weigh out my lye now. You'll want to make sure and wear gloves and safety glasses, long sleeves also, and don't breathe any of the fumes when you mix it with the water, because it can really damage your lungs. So I'll spoon it carefully onto the scale. And I need 6 ounces of lye crystals. So that's right at 6 ounces by weight. So I wanted to show you, when I pour the lye into the water, it will immediately start steaming, because that lye, as soon as it gets wet, really heats up. So we're just going to give that a quick stir. And the fumes are extremely caustic, so please don't breathe them. So you want to stand back and just let that work and cool down. My harder oils are completely melted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my pot. The lye and the oils take forever to cool down. I like to run some cold water in the sink just to help the lye cool down a little faster. Next, I'll measure out 10 ounces of olive oil. And putting the olive oil in cold will help the oils to cool. And then we've got the lye cooling in the sink. So it just kind of speeds up the process a little bit. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I want some essential oil in there. And if you're interested, this recipe is roughly 6% superfatted, which means not all of the fat has saponified, which makes it less drying and a lot more moisturizing. So I'm going to aim for 1/2 ounce of essential oil. All right, now the essential oils go in last. So now we're going to check the temperature. We've got 145 degrees, so that's still way too hot. And I'll check the temperature of the lye, which is at 133. So that'll need more time as well. While our oils and lye are cooling down, I want to show you how I get the molds ready. I do have some silicone molds, but I have no way of keeping them up, and the sides tend to bulge out. So I won't be using this today. I'll just be using these loaf pans. And then I've got a regular kitchen trash bag that I've slit down the sides. And I'll just tuck that into the mold as straight as I can. Sometimes the plastic does show up, so I like to straighten it out as best I can, but this is just for our personal use, so I'm not super worried about it. If I'm doing a big batch of soap, what I'll do is I'll just line this entire box with a trash bag, and then I've got a towel handy, and what I'll do is I'll just cover the molds with this, cover the whole box with the towel to help insulate it so it can saponify. Alright, and we'll check the temperature of our lye. And our target is 110 to 115, so that's perfect. So it looks like our oil's at the right temperature, so we'll go ahead and we'll mix the two together. In goes the lye water. I like to use an immersion blender set on a low setting to mix this up, and you want to keep it submerged so that it doesn't splatter soap everywhere. So at this point you can see it's kind of leaving a tail that stands up when I lift this out. So now we know that it's time to add the essential oils, and then I'll blend those in as well. And the reason you want to add the essential oils last is so that they don't lose their scent while you're mixing the rest of them together. Alright, it's ready to go in the molds. You guys, that smells so good. I'm going to try to get this about half in each mold. And you can use any essential oil that you want. I have heard that the floral scents tend to flash quicker, which means they set up a little faster. You have less time to put it in the mold. But I've only done lavender and I haven't had that experience. So now I'm just tapping out all the bubbles, making sure it's nice and smooth. So now I'm just going to set this plastic over the top where it's not really touching. And I'll close up this box and set the towel over the top. So that's it for today. I'll let these set overnight and then I'll come back and I'll slice them in the morning before they get too hard. Our soap is sat overnight under the towel and it should be ready to slice. So this is what it looks like this morning, and I'll just take these pans out and pop them out of the molds. And you are going to want to make sure that this soap cures for about 3 weeks. The curing process makes it harder. It'll make it last longer, and it also gives the lye a chance to fully mix in with the soap so that it's not burning your skin when you use it. And I like to go about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. They do make special soap cutting boxes, but I find that this works just fine. So while you're curing your soap, I like to either put it in an open box with no lid on paper towels and just keep the bars stacked kind of upright if you can. Keep some air between them. Or I will use a cookie rack and I'll just cover it with a towel. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the cookie rack. Alright, it's ready for the curing process. Thanks for joining me today, guys, at Hearn Family Homestead. Be sure and like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.